All right, welcome to Not a Podcast, episode 1. We're just going to discuss a couple of points here in the e-commerce world. We'll try and hit this up a few times a week, if not daily, if we can, because of how much news in the e-commerce space is coming out. I've got Gabe here, aka my brother, as well as
what's up, everyone.
He'll kind of lead the discussion, make sure we're on the right path, and then obviously jump into some of the nitty-gritty. But already today is April 6th. Those last 3 months have been insane in the ecom world, from TikTok and Amazon and AI. And basically, how can we be on the forefront for our clients, making sure that the sellers in our industry have the right tools and education and the right platform to grow their sales. And also bring to the table more discussion in ecom. Now, there's a lot of discussion happening in ecom, and how can we be a part of it is the basis of this podcast. But let's get this underway. Gabe, what's the first topic?
Yeah, I mean, it's regards to this fuel surcharge from Amazon. And so
5%.
just from like our client perspective, like, how much do you think this Amazon FBA fuel surcharge will cost?
Right. So a little background on that one. 3.5%. When does it start? April 17th. That's in 11 days, right?
Yep.
As of the recording of this podcast. So basically, this is to counter the increase of fuel that's happening due to the war in Iran.
Okay.
Obviously, that's going to impact a lot in just commerce in general. And so to see that impact us directly on sellers on the Amazon space isn't a surprise. It's happening quickly. So 3.5% across the board. I think I read in our podcast notes that it was going to be on average 17 cents. Now you're thinking, what's 17 cents? Right? Well, on average on Amazon, items are probably sub $20. We'll have to figure that one out. But for a lot of our sellers, we try to work with, brands that are sourcing from China, developing them themselves. So 3.5%, you're talking Amazon is already the smallest margin across any channel that they sell on usually. And so it's a big impact for them, especially on Amazon.
Yeah.
So it's from a cost perspective, 3.5% isn't anything to scoff at.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Do you think this fuel surcharge is going to be permanent, or?
Well, reading through what Amazon stated, and because it's a fuel surcharge due to the war, you would think that it's going to be gone, after the war ends, maybe a little after the war ends. But I did read or remember that it happened in 2022, where there was another a surcharge that they added in that's supposed to end, and they ended up just bundling it in. So they just kept it, right? And my assumption here is that 17 cents on average is something that equates closely to what they used to earn from labeling, 20 cents, 50 cents for disposal, etc. And they got rid of labeling. So they got rid of that revenue, but they also got rid of the cost of labeling as well. So to get back to revenue without decreasing the cost, now this is skeptical of me, of course, they're going to just start charge the surcharge. So now they're obviously able to make up for the lost revenue of not doing labeling anymore. And how many did labeling? A lot of sellers did labeling. They didn't want to label themselves. Amazon offered it as a service, so they would just have them do it unless you were manufacturing it all as well, and you were on top of it. So in a way, they're probably going to more than increase that cost. And then after gas prices and fuel charges go down, they'll probably make that revenue again. So in the long run, I'm assuming that it's going to stick around for a long time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. I know we have some of our clients that do use like MCF or the multi-channel fulfillment. Mm-hmm. Does that apply to them?
For them, yes. So again, anything that touches FBA does apply to, even Buy with Prime. Now, MCF and Buy with Prime, we might have got that email. We actually, at an event, we had a representative from Buy with Prime or from MCF show up to one of our events here at Anata. And after talking with her, they're blending MCF and Buy with Prime. And so those two teams will start working together, because they should be already, which is funny. But they'll basically be increasing it across the board. So anything that FBA touches, which is going to be Buy with Prime as well. I think Buy with Prime is actually like in the beginning of May 2nd or something like that. So yeah, it'll touch FCF, Buy with Prime, and obviously FBA. If your inventory is just in FBA, then yes, you'll surcharge.
No, I think that's good information. I know some of our clients right now are actually using FBM, trying to switch over to FBA, but like, will this surcharge also like affect FBM?
Right. Yeah. Wacky Walker is one of them.
Yeah.
They are going to avoid it if they stayed there. And we've been like, they're a new client of ours for the listeners, and we've been transitioning and we're planning for the transition to FBA. And so for something like this to happen, it's like, okay, well, should
take a pause on that, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Now that's something like we might want to weigh out in the long run. Should we transition to an FBM model? Now we have some clients now, very, very few, that just want to do FBM, mostly for just because they don't want to give Amazon more money and their customer bases are very niche. So that's probably one reason why they don't want to go to FBA. But to get new people, I would still go all in on FBA if I were them. That's where the buyers are, right? And at the end of the day, the buyers are going to be impacted by FBA versus FBM, but not the scale where they're going to start waiting longer than 2 days to get their product, right? Remember the days when we would order something and would have to get here in 5 days? Oh, that's crazy. That's I still don't think it's worth it for the consumer, right? The consumers probably still pay that $290 or $250, $299 fee to get it the next day or that day of, right? They probably pay if they're not spending more than $25. So for something like this, I think the consumers will still want FBA. So we need to provide that to them as sellers for sure.
Okay, cool. That's all great information. This might be a little bit off script, but like, what can our clients do, or just any seller on Amazon do to just like outweigh these surcharges, these fees?
Right. In the long run, and just the overall economics, we'll probably urge our clients to figure out ways to save, right? How can we get savings down? How can we try harder on the advertising to not limit ourselves? And this is like a double whammy. You're like, okay, I'm gonna pay the surcharge, and then this credit card thing is a big deal too. And we didn't bring that up, but that was another big thing that happened just last week when they announced that advertising is no longer gonna get that credit card fee. And so not only do we need to urge our sellers to think still aggressively on capturing that consumer base, but also very, very strategically. How can we really prove them in the overall brand halo of awareness grabbing for their consumers? And so I would say for us as an agency and a partner for a lot of our clients, we need to urge our clients to be more strategic when it comes to things that are outside of our hands, as well as we at Anata start implementing some of these things as well. That's one thing that I think is going to be super crucial. So off the top of my head, just to kind of get to the brass tacks of it, it's like, what can I do for cost savings for manufacturing? What can I do for cost savings in packaging? What can I do for cost savings with personnel and implementing AI? And then the AI is going to be crucial in cost savings. I know we're trying to be at the forefront with how we're implementing AI across all of our channels. And Anata is not just like Amazon marketing, we're overall e-commerce marketing and consulting. We're a 3PL. We run agents, or we run event centers. We run e-commerce co-working space. Like, we're trying to envelop ourselves in this community as much as we can. And AI is going to be a huge driver in that cost savings, in that just ability to move fast and be agile. And so those would be points that I would highly recommend to our clients right now. It's just to be on that forefront, and what we've been trying to push our clients to do exactly that. It's just like, how can we implement these cost savings for you? Because the world is not going to get any easier, right?
Yeah. Yes. 100%. Cool. Yeah. I don't know. It seems like we're kind of getting to the end here. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, or?
I mean, just to stay on a couple more topics that I know that is going to hit like credit cards. I'm really interested in seeing how, from a cash flow perspective, credit cards are like the saving grace. And then advertising fees on, a lot of our clients, 50% of the revenue, top line revenue is coming from Amazon of all D2C. That means like how much of that is coming from their advertising fee, maybe not 50% because they do a lot of like TV ads and social ads that drive traffic to Amazon, but probably 20-30% of that on average is going to come from advertising spend. And so let's stay on top of that. Let's reach out to the community and figure out what we could do on the credit card issue. 20 to 30% all of a sudden that's tied up, and you're paying that directly from either your top line sales or from which most of us are just going to come out. They're just going to take it out of your payouts from Amazon. So how do we adjust for that cash flow issue that our customers and clients are going to have? So that's a big one too. But no, I think for episode 1 of the Anata podcast, that's pretty good. I don't know. How about you?
No, that's amazing. And maybe we can go into that credit card detail in like more in depth in like another episode.
Right.
But yeah, no, this is all great information. And just for our listeners, just to make sure that Amazon fuel charge just start April 17th, 2026 for FBA and MCF in the US and Canada. And then for Buy with Prime, that starts for May 2nd, 2026. So cool. Well, awesome, David. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, of course. We'll keep this up as much as possible. There's a lot going on, and we'll catch you guys all on the next one. Peace.